Welcome to Fright Night. All right, man. First one.
Oh, the first
night.
one's always a doozy.
The first one's a doozy. So this is going to be part of our a new series. You're going to see episodes pop up here and there, just solely dedicated to our love of horror. So, Keith, would you like to tell the fine listeners what the first one we're going to be doing is?
Well, did you even explain what it is yet?
What?
This episode. You just said it's going to come up whenever we want. But
should we restart?
No, let's just go. I mean, this is about it. This is about as organized as we usually are.
Yeah. So these are going to cover. Keith, why don't you tell us?
These are going to cover horror movies specifically. We're going to do horror movies in the main episodes, but it's not like our main. It's not like not every episode.
Not like a full episode.
Yeah, we kind of do movies that we like, and that we like to cover all bounds.
We usually do like a plot walkthrough.
Yeah.
I think these ones we'd like to just talk about like scariest moments in some of our favorite movies. I think like talk about characters, like, for example, like Michael Myers, someone like that. You know what I mean?
Oh, good old Mike
like
Myers.
That. Yeah. The real indie stuff that no one's watching.
Yeah. For sure.
So
I agree. So this is going to be, most of it's going to be in the style of like a double feature. Like we're going to usually do two movies
and just talk about our favorite kills and stuff like that. I would say, right? Anything else?
And we'll cover like stuff that I like, stuff that Nick likes, that the other one hasn't seen, and we're gonna do stuff where we watch two movies, like whatever we have to own them,
Yeah, all that sort of good stuff. So, a disclaimer for these episodes, just kind of going forward: if you do not like horror or are grossed out easily or like squeamish, these episodes probably aren't going to be for you. But if you're willing to give it a try, we warned you.
Right, because we're going to start off with
probably the most brutal movie in current existence.
Yeah,
just to set the bar real high. So Keith, what movie are we covering?
We're going to cover 2016. Let me run that back.
Yeah, this is all going in.
Damien Leone's 2016 Terrifier.
Day-bub-bub.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. What just happened there?
Day-bub-bub.
I think I just got too excited.
That? Oh, with that?
Oh, no, with mine. Yeah, I apologize. I know we're not going to cut that. Everyone's going to hear that.
I'm just done with cutting things, I think.
Yeah.
It's just going to be
It's like learn how to speak. Like just learn how to say a sentence or just get out of here.
Get a new co-host or whatever.
Just don't come back.
Fine.
Cool.
Anywho.
But anyways, so we saw this actually last week. We went to AMC near us. Yeah, shout out. It's a little indie.
We're sponsored by the indie movie theater AMC.
But they did they brought Terrifier to the theaters. I guess that's the first time.
For the first time?
Yeah.
So I had never seen...
He said Damien Leone in the intro said back to theaters, so I'm assuming they're...
It must have been like some small ones.
Right, like art house kind of thing when it first came out. It had to be, I'm assuming. I thought it was never in theaters, but that's what he said in the intro. He said
it really wouldn't have shocked me to hear that it was never in theaters.
Well, yeah, I didn't think it was. It was a streaming thing. And then Dread Central, they
just
actually
bought it or whatever, or distributed it?
Distributed. Man, I cannot say words.
That's
distributed it a couple years after it actually was first released in 2016.
That's pretty
So that's when people actually saw it more. It was 2018.
And so this one, I mean, you had seen this. So this was my first time seeing it.
Yeah.
And it was kind of cool. He did Damien Leone did like this whole intro like before the movie came out. So it was like a whole Terrifier event. The place was packed. I think we were one of 10 people there.
I was like, for a second, I was like, wait, was I not
that was
there?
not packed.
I was like, dude, you can't lie to them.
We saw a guy dump his whole bowl of fucking popcorn on the floor next to us.
He was like too old to do the maneuver that he did.
Yeah. He was like, "Huh."
Ran up the steps like a little kid and just biffed popcorn everywhere. And then
everywhere.
He's like, "Oh."
And then some poor 13-year-old employee. No, that's too. You legally can't be employed.
Maybe not that much older. 15.
But this movie should probably be rated higher than R for the amount of gore. And this poor employee had to sit there and watch terrifying scenes. So yeah, it was cool. Needless to say, I was really happy that I was able to see it for the first time, kind of on the big screen. I know Keith was really excited for me.
Yeah,
and he kept saying, "Man, I wish I could go back and
I wish I had
redo my life different."
I wish I hadn't seen it before.
Whoa.
Because on the big screen, it's completely different.
It was
so
very
much more.
Although I will say, so those of you who have seen it, which we recommend, I guess, that you watch these movies for these ones. I think like Art the clown, like the main character is like this really like fucking scary clown named Art. He doesn't talk at all during the movie. He's completely silent, doesn't make any noises. But he's a clown. So he's like kind of like mimes like funny poses, but he's all bloody and stuff. So like there was a lot of people laughing at some of those scenes. So I think if I had seen it by myself, like at home, it would have been scarier. But there was like a lot of other people around to make it like, oh, this is funny. Like he's a clown. So I just thought that was cool.
Dude, yeah, it's an awesome movie. So we'll go into a little bit about Damien himself. So this is his first like feature length movie. He actually had a short called The Ninth Circle, which features Art the Clown, and another one called just Terrifier in 2008 and 11.
They were both like shorts.
Those are shorts, and then those become two of the shorts. And he had like an anthology called All Hallows Eve.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That's also like these movies.
Did you see them? Are they pretty good?
Obviously, All Hallows Eve, yeah.
Yeah. Are they as messed up as Terrifier?
No.
No. Okay.
It's almost like he's, and I've seen this with a lot of filmmakers. They're like figuring out how to make a movie,
like what their thing is.
Yeah.
I mean, even with this one, I was trying to think of like what the budget could have possibly been for Terrifier, and it was not a lot.
Yeah,
I mean, I think it's all in like a warehouse basically. It's in like a pizza place in a warehouse.
Yeah, 35,000.
35,000.
Like this is actually low budget horror. Like
and
actually,
honestly, during the release in theaters, they probably like that alone. They probably made their money back in just the release from theaters, which was probably awesome. But anyway, so yeah, do you want to?
Yeah, so All Hallows Eve. That's the first thing I saw. And that's like on streaming. Like it was on. I think it was on Shudder. It was like everywhere for free, like Tubi. Yeah. And then he had Terrifier. He actually produced an All Hallows Eve 2, which I haven't seen. Oh no, I have seen it, and it's fine. It's none of his stuff.
Does the job.
Yeah, but Terrifier. I remember the first time I saw
truly
that.
Terrifying.
And I was like, this. I just remember I kept seeing Art the Clown all over the place. I'm like, all right, I gotta finally watch this thing.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I had seen All Hallows Eve, but then I saw that movie. Yeah, this movie is fucked up.
It really is. So do you want to get into some of the? So I have a lot of like really funny scenes. It's not funny. None of this is funny, but like cool scenes that I wanted to talk about. Did you want to like start off with any that like stood out to you? Like,
yeah, I mean, just the general idea that there really is not a whole lot of plot.
Oh, there's negative plot. There's a lot of like plot twists. I would argue as a plot twist, maybe. Like, I mean, we can spoil this stuff, right?
Yeah. We're going to talk about how people will die.
Yeah, that's true. So the biggest one is like, which I thought was really cool, is that the two people that you're introduced to. I don't remember their names. I'm not even going to try and remember. It was the girl with the blonde hair and the girl with the brunette hair. So they're kind of pitched as like the girl with the brunette hair is kind of pitched as like the main character, but she is not the main. She dies like very early on, and I was like,
Tara and Dawn are the two girls.
Okay, yeah. And what one was which? What girl was which?
Tara's the brunette, and then Dawn is the. Dawn is like the friend, the blonde friend, yeah.
And that was like, I thought that was really cool. I think it's, I don't know. I mean, you see horror movies and you're like, all right, what was movie writing 101? It's like establish a main character, and like I think that was cool. That like at this low budget level, he was already thinking like, how cool would it be if I just said fuck them and just got rid of them instantly? Oh, yeah. Which I thought was so cool.
But yeah, that's what I like about Damien Leone. That's why Terrifier 2, I saw that was in theaters as well.
Is that one better? I think I sent out a poll on Twitter to like our followers, and it was like, I think it was like 50-50. People were like, oh, definitely go watch it, and then the other people were like, the first one gives you the vibe of like Terrifier if it's not really your thing. Like, was it good? Would you say it was like a good
yeah movie? So one is, I mean, they both are violent as all hell, and two just takes it to like a whole nother level. Yeah. He like figured out what he wanted to do and just
and ran with it,
just crushed it. But one is like more compact. It's like, I think it's like 80 minutes or 90 minutes. Yeah, 2 is like actually somehow longer than 2 hours. It has like it has like a fantasy kind of vibe to part of it, even though it's brutal. There's like a subplot of like a fantasy thing happening. Yeah. And I think it's good. Most people that I talk to don't like it. They're like, oh, it's just
I think they kind of alluded to that a little bit at the end of the first one though. Remember that when he's like in the morgue, like, spoiler alert, Art blows his fucking brains out at the end of the movie. But then he's like in the morgue and then he's back like alive. Yeah, well, so I think they kind of set up.
2 starts basically with him like missing his eye trying to put his eye back in, and he has the hole in the back of his head.
God.
Yeah, it basically picks up
Where it
almost
left
exactly.
off. That's like a direct call to like Halloween and Halloween 2.
Yeah, he
which I
basically
thought was
just
pretty
rises.
Cool. He basically just stole all the plot. I'm just kidding.
No, but so if we can talk about kills, you got the cold open kill where
it's the pizza shop guy?
No, before that, the interviewer gets her eyes gouged out. Just gets her face mauled, and she's just standing there with her eyes all blown in. It's nasty.
Ugh.
That's
I'm like making a ton of faces.
Dude, when we got out of there, I was like, Nick, what'd you think? And he's like, oh, it really wasn't that bad. I was like, bro, that movie is
you should go talk to someone.
Brutal. I was like, that's like a top movie for me.
I thought that opening scene where I guess spoiler alert is I can't remember her name either.
That's actually Victoria.
That is
Tara's
sister who ends up being the real like main character in the end. She gets like destroyed by Art. She gets like half of her face eaten, and she just looks like real banged up. I guess is how I would describe it. I thought that was scarier than Art. Like her face, I thought that was like
it's demented.
That one gave me chills. Like I was, that one was kind of brutal, but that was tough.
Yeah. So as far as like a movie that really the plot is, there is a clown that you don't know anything about other than he's scary as hell, and he just starts stalking these two girls for what seems to be absolutely no reason at all, which is scarier because it's just like
it's like
up.
Wrong place, wrong time.
Well, he finds them in a parking lot, and then they go to a pizza place, and he ends up being there and just following them. Yeah, the one girl thinks there's nothing of it. The other girl's like
terrified.
Terrified. But yeah, no, it's crazy, and then the kills just start. It's rolling in right there. They just start.
So we had that intro one. The first girl.
Yeah.
The newscaster gets her eyes punctured inward, and the practical effects in this movie alone, which we were talking about like after the fact, are unreal. And you said he does all of them himself.
Damien Leone. So that's what's cool about him. He's the writer, director, producer, I think, or maybe co-producer, and then special effects.
Yeah, get you a man that can do it all. Yeah. Damien Leone.
And that's what I like about this is he's a fan of the craft of horror. Yeah. Like you can tell how he wrote this movie. Like he knew exactly how to construct this movie so that horror fans
would enjoy
it. 80s just maniacal dirty slashers.
I just don't know how you could get away with, if you have that low of a budget. I don't know how you'd be able to get away with like hiring a digital company to do some of that stuff. Yeah, but I feel like that is higher stakes then, because some of those like the practical effects and stuff like that. I mean, he probably couldn't afford more than one of some of those things. So like if he didn't get it, like that was that. So we had the opening girl.
Yeah, and then you have then he goes and blows up the bathroom. So he does. I guess he does poop. I don't know. He annihilates the bathroom.
Yeah, at like a pizza place.
Yeah. So then he off-screen kills the owner. Yeah. And leaves him as like a.
Was that a jack-o'-lantern? Okay.
Yeah,
I was like, what the hell is his eyes?
He like carves out his face like a jack-o'-lantern face, and he's got the flames,
the candle in it.
But it's like brutal looking. And then the other dude finds him, and he just gets like hacked, stabbed in the face, and just repeatedly.
Yeah, that I thought that was going to be like, this is really common in horror where it's like, early on, you'll see like the person, and then it'll just be like one swing, and they're dead. But like he swung, and then it was just silent, and then it was just like stabbing and like squishy noises and for a while.
They don't pan away either. No. And they just show you, and it's like, oh, and his like tongue's all flapping out.
Yeah, and you're just like, oh, okay. And this is approximately 15 minutes into the movie.
Yeah, if that. Yeah, I was like, oh my god. I mean, seeing that on the big screen, I was like, dear God,
it was brutal. I liked though throughout the movie, Art's bag of his like garbage bag of tools of like basically weapons. I thought that was really a nice see him
touch. Just packing it at the beginning, just
his little garbage bag. He's slinging it over. He's kind of like a likable character in a way. Like he looks. I don't know. You're not rooting for the guy, but
people are dressing up as but not as like a scary like. Well, I guess it is scary, but
it is scary.
It's not the same as Michael Myers, where you're just scared of him.
Well, I always think that it was like some interview or something like that with someone. They were trying to design like an iconic character for something, and they said like the key is to like make it someone identifiable. Like if you saw a clown with like the garbage bag, like Art the Clown is a very recognizable like brand, so to speak. So I just think he did a great job with
he's
all
got
that
like
stuff.
He's got like a almost perverted feel, like Freddy Krueger, where it's like there's something about it where you're just like it's skeevy.
You're like but
it's not like, but you're also, but Freddy's also like I don't know what it is.
He's like charismatic in a way
Yeah, so
that
you're
makes
like-
you enjoy when he's on screen in a weird way.
You're like, am I rooting for a serial killer or
Am I rooting
what?
for?
God.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're like, you know
God.
what?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Nah.
No, that's not me, dude. That's messed up.
Yeah, you're like, I think Bundy got a rough deal.
Oh,
You're like,
God.
oh,
I hope somebody just clips that
that
quote right
thing,
there.
and just
Yeah.
that's going to be the intro to our apology letter to this whole show. So he had so now that we're up to 3, I guess.
Yeah, 3 kills.
Who was the 4th?
And then they go to is the 4th I think the 4th is the most despicable.
Oh,
Yeah.
the one.
So they end up at a warehouse.
Yeah, she has to like use a bathroom or something.
Yeah.
So
Series of unfortunate events. They get a flat tire. They have to go. They eventually go to. They're out in front of a building, and they go this clean
inside,
or this. He's not a cleaner. He's an
exterminator.
He
He's a
lets-
great character.
he's good.
Whoever they casted him as, I hope he has a really good.
She lets
career.
him. He lets her inside, and then she finds an even worse bathroom, and then
Yeah.
eventually her friend gets picked off outside by Art the Clown.
Yeah, you see
brought
Art
inside.
sitting in the car next to her. Oh man.
And then the main character, Tara, gets picked up, needled in the neck.
Yeah,
She wakes up in a.
and she is like tied to a chair while her
Yeah.
friend is. I'm gonna not go into super detail.
No,
with this one.
no.
Her friend is upside down,
Tied upside down.
and Art takes it upon himself to separate the.
Well, just let me say, he dials down the middle, 1-800-collect, but he just saws her in half.
He j-
But she's upside down, so like
Yeah,
we don't
it's
really
very
need to describe
brutal.
it. But
It's
it is
not
the most
great.
brutal thing I probably have ever seen. Oh, until Terrifier 2. It's the
yeah.
most brutal thing I've seen. Like that, they don't really. They do cut. They go close. They go far, but they don't really. Cut.
They show an alarming amount
Yeah.
of that scene. Yeah. If you've seen, so leading up to this, Keith asked me, he's like, "What's the scariest movie you've ever seen?"
No,
like,
I said,
most
what's
disturbing,
the worst thing you've seen in a movie?
worst thing I've seen in a movie. And there was a particular similar scene in a movie called Bone Tomahawk with Kurt Russell, if people know what I'm talking about. And it's basically the exact same scene, but in a more brutal manner, I would say. So yeah, that was kind of wild. But
You can describe that.
what, in Bone Tomahawk?
Yeah, it's your movie.
No, I don't want to describe that. That gave
No,
me
but that guy,
nightmares.
Craig Zahler. I don't know how to say his last name, but
Who? That's
the guy that directed that Bone Tomahawk.
Oh yeah,
But he's known for that style.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
he also did Brawl in Cell Block 99,
That's true.
which we're talking about like
Yeah.
brutalness.
Which when he kicks off a man's head into a toilet hole, I said that was kind of funny, and Keith looked at me like we should no longer do.
no,
a
no,
podcast
I did like
together.
that. I just don't want to. I don't want to admit that.
Oh no,
was
you
funny.
didn't like the face slide.
Yeah, when he
scene.
stomps his head into the ground and then grinds
like-
his bones across the grinds his skull across the ground. Yeah,
But I thought the practical effects were like so interesting that I was like, I mean, these are all movies. Like, obviously, that's very disturbing subject matter, but it's all movies.
but
Like,
his
I
style-
just appreciate how they can pull things off like that.
But his style of brutality reminds me of this.
Of Terrifier.
It's like the same. It's like obviously it's not horror. Well,
Yeah,
he kind of dabbles in horror. He has a movie called
they're like those.
Asylum Blackout was his first movie. I think
It's like a shock.
The Incident.
They're like shock
Yeah.
movies.
Well, he does actually. He actually wrote the latest Puppet Master, and he has this movie called The Incident, which is like a horror movie.
Oh, I think you were telling me
Silent
about the
Blackout.
incident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
that
I
one-
think he does something really similar, which like is done through Terrifier. No music. Like, there's not really a score, right? If I'm remembering
think
correctly,
so.
it was
I'm
like,
trying to think.
I feel like a lot of the scary scenes, it was like it callbacks to like old heart, like Nosferatu, where it was like silence is your friend when trying to convey like a feeling of uneasiness in some of these movies. Like, someone's getting killed, like it's silent except for the sounds of stabbing, and you're
Right.
like, oh my god, it just like adds to the whole uneasiness, which I like really thought was cool. So yeah, her friend gets cut in two. Her right side is removed from her left side, and vice versa. But then I had a funny thought of like, what do you do with that practical prop when you're done with it? Keith, would you like to weigh in?
I'm glad that you brought that up again. This is the third time we've talked about it. This is the first time on.
You can't have a
yeah.
partial, like a two.
Why don't you
parts.
tell? I want you to say what you thought happens with this thing.
Oh,
Just
when I was
hanging in the
like-
garage.
Yeah, I was like, what is this guy just like keep it in the garage as like a a memory or whatever? Like, oh yeah, you got Timmy's Little League jersey up on the wall and be like, oh, remember when your dad filmed a scene where a prop was cut in half upside down? Like, that's just bizarre. Like, you can't put that in the trash.
Yeah,
I think that's not what he wanted us to focus on after watching that scene.
I think that's the first thing you said to me after we walked out. After I asked you if you liked it, you were like, "Oh, wasn't that bad?" And then you said, "What do you think he does with the props?" And I'm like, "That's your takeaway?" Not like, "Yo, that was
that
up.
was bizarre." It was the first thing that I thought, because I always look at these scenes as like practically the way that he made that look was like incredible. How he was able to pull that together,
right,
and make it look convincing. So like,
and Art, all the while, Art is just menacing. He never, speaks. He's just, he has that smile all the time.
Yeah.
All right. So the other kills that I think of are the cat lady. So there's the homeless lady, or I don't know if she's homeless. She thinks she lives there, but we're never sure.
She's like, I think she is homeless.
Nuts.
I think she is like, she basically was like a squatter that was homeless. Yeah.
But she like claims to live in the building, but she also has a baby doll as a kid, so you're not really sure what's going on. But yeah, she gets off screen scalped, and then her
chest is
just sliced off.
Yes.
And then the next time, this is when the sister shows up to avenge this, to find out what's going on with her sister.
Yeah, she walks in and thinks that there's a woman like. Well,
she assumes that's her sister, I think.
Yeah.
Because she's got the dark hair, so she's like, she assumes it's her sister laying there,
and it's just like a nude Art the clown.
Yeah, he pops out. It's
with like a bodysuit.
Yeah, and that's cool because it's like a weird. Like, to me, it's
so
like a
bizarre.
weird homage to like Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah,
because especially like Texas Chainsaw 4, where he has, and
oh,
I'm like, dude,
that was the scene that like got me a little bit. I was like, oh,
he comes sucking up the stairs with just the wig, the breasts, and then his schmeat just wangling, and I'm like, oh, bro, I kind of forgot about this part.
So I don't know what it is, but the first thought I had was like, oh, that's wild. But then I was like, how do you tell your parents that you got this role?
Yo, Mom, I made it big. Damien put me in the movie, and be
like, oh, can we go see it? Never.
No, can't see it.
You're never in your whole life.
You're never going to look at me the same when I'm walking up the table at Thanksgiving.
Yep. And yeah, that one was kind of messed up.
Yeah.
So we had that. We had Tara, the main character.
Oh, yeah.
She gets, so in like a creepy, like spooking around, like montage of her like trying to evade him, they find each other, and he
gets her in the leg.
He stabs her leg.
Yeah.
She's down, and then like you think she hits him with the 2x4, and is like, come on, come and get me, and he pulls out a fucking gun.
Yeah, like
totally unprompted, and is just like pop, dead.
And I like that because that breaks slasher. That's pretty much breaks.
It does.
It's like the antithesis of slasher.
Antithesis.
Is that how you say that word?
I hope so.
That's it. No, that's it. That sounds right.
Antithesis. That's where we landed.
Learning English today.
So yeah, I get it does go against like.
No, but that's cool because it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to let you beat me with a 2x4. Here's this gun that I had in my sock the whole time.
Which it took me by surprise.
And the fact
like,
that
oh my god,
he can't kill her with it the first time just kills me.
Yeah, he shoots her in the face like 4 times, and she's like, nope.
Well, he hits her in the leg, the side, and then he gets her like one in the cheek, and then it jams.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Oh shit, I'll go back to my bag," and he does.
That's a really funny sequence. He like calmly walks back and is like digging through the bag,
pulling out like all sorts of shit. Finally gets another clip, puts it in, or is it another gun? I can't remember.
It's another like clip.
Yeah, he puts a clip in, goes back, and just turns her face into like
Swiss cheese.
Yeah, just like a
ratatouille up in here,
bowl of Jello. It's just like, and they obviously show you the face and it's all misconfigured, and you're like, God damn! Even that,
like, come on,
even
dude.
like the easiest shooter, it turns into like a massacre. Dunzo. Like, oh my god,
that was cool. I thought that was a really cool turning point because then you're truly like, well, I don't know what the hell's gonna happen now.
Yeah, she's dead.
She's dead. Crazy lady's dead,
and then you have the exterminator is still alive. I think he was like subdued, like he knocked him out or something at some point.
Oh, he smacks him in the head with a hammer.
Oh yeah, he beats he hits him. He like impales his head with a hammer.
Because the Tara goes up the stairs with her her hurt leg, and is like, "There's someone down there." And he's like, "Well, let me get my cell phone out." And then Art just right on his dome.
And you're like, "Well, they usually kill people way worse than that." So you're like, "He might still be alive. We're not sure." But I figured he's dead. And then
he swung at his head with a hammer.
he ended up calling his buddy at one point.
Yeah,
the other guy, because he needed
his other exterminator pal.
So he came in and he gets the knife in the top of the head, and then just the saw across or is it another? It's another knife.
It's another knife. Yeah, he pulls out a second knife.
Hereditary's him right there, pops his head off. Yeah, that is brutal.
I love how annoyed Art looks that there's like someone else. He's like, oh, God damn. Like his facial expressions are actually like pretty good
Yeah.
in that movie. So he's done. And then, weirdly, out of nowhere, the exterminator man comes back.
Yeah, to save the day.
And he did not seem like he was hurt whatsoever. He's like, oh, I know, like a grown man just overhead swung a hammer at the top of my head.
He just
and
had
he's
like a little blood on his head.
He's like, hey, he's like, we're gonna go to the hospital. It's gonna be fine. Like, he was fine after that scene, which I thought was
fine
pretty
until
funny.
he gets his head smashed and stomped in.
Yeah, then he actually gets his head stomped in.
Well, yeah, he hits him with the exterminator can once, and then he just sits there and with his oversized clown shoes just stomps his head in, which kind of reminds me of Cell Block 99.
Of Cell Block 99. I think it's cool too. His like Art's laugh. It's basically a soundless laugh. Like he's like belly laughing. So every time he kills someone, he's like cracking up, and I think that's like a really strange part of it, of the whole thing. And then. Who else was it? I don't think there was anyone else, right?
Well, just left is Tara and
Tara,
Art.
yeah. And then
or not Tara. I'm sorry.
Her sister.
Yeah,
her sister,
Victoria.
Victoria.
Yeah.
And what happens to Victoria?
Well, so Art gets her. So she escapes into she goes back into like almost like a garage. And then you hear the police sirens. You're like, oh, sweet. But really, Art just gets a truck and rams through the gate. And then gets her, and then has her down, and starts
eating her
face.
Right?
Then that's how her face gets all mauled.
Yeah.
And then the cops come. It's like Art doesn't even care the cops are there.
He's
like,
annoyed.
Oh, cool.
Again, it's like another facial expression. He's like, oh, fucking come on. Like, I thought that was really cool. And then that's where they're basically like, all right, put your hands up. And this is the last kill of the movie. No, second to last kill, I guess. He basically like, all right, come on. Like all the cops pull their guns and they're like, pull down your weapon. And Art just sticks the gun in his mouth and just like blows his brains out. And he's like laughing the whole time right before. And you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Which is pretty
the only
real.
other thing is I think Victoria's the one that stabs him in the eye, right? Or she stabs him in the eye. Yeah.
Victoria stabbed him in the
Pulls his eye out.
Yeah. Which was, God damn it. Then they take him, he's in the morgue, and then the morgue is the last kill, which also you can truly tell how low budget this was, because it was like this giant abandoned warehouse in this whole movie. They just picked like the nicest room in it, and they were like, oh, obviously this is the hospital.
Yeah.
We're gonna
awesome. So we'll meet you guys over. We're gonna film the hospital.
We're gonna go to the hospital warehouse.
Just take 5 and step next door.
And and then he like miraculously comes back to life.
Yeah.
He
opens a body bag.
And he's like, bah!
Well, I guess he opens the other body bag first, and it's the other dude's face just completely.
And he's like, oh.
You just see like his teeth. Like,
Yeah.
And then he opens the other body bag, and it's Art that pops out, and
Art is awake with his eyes open and just like jumps at him.
So that's pretty much how the second one starts.
Yeah.
He's like trying to recollect himself.
Art is disheveled. And then you find out at the very end, I know we're not doing a plot overview, but at the very end you find out that it was like a year later and they're releasing that girl, Victoria, like from the hospital, and they're like, hey, good luck with your interview tomorrow. And it's like the interview from the beginning. Yeah. And it's like full circle.
Yeah, I like that. That was the cold open kill.
So other than the hacksaw kill, what was the best one? What was your favorite one? Like, what did you think was like, oh shit, I didn't see that coming? Me, it was the gun. 4,000%.
Oh my God.
It killed me. I was like, what the fuck? I thought that was I thought that was really funny.
I don't know. There's something about the stab on top of the head.
Oh, with his buddy. Yeah.
I don't know. There's something about that. I don't know what it is. I really like that one. But
I
also
say that's like a classic horror. That's like a classic slasher horror where it's like, it's very obvious. It's like, they're not like aware that this camera's there. You know what I mean? But it's almost like, all right, we have to film like a straight on slasher scene.
Oh yeah.
Like I feel like you get that in a lot of places.
But I think that because it's the one I really like is the cat lady one, because it's so wild, but it's like off screen. You don't really
see that one.
Yeah.
It's disturbing. God.
Yeah, that's a rough. I guess I got to go with the head stomping one, because it's just so crazy that his head just explodes on the ground. There's like, okay,
you're like, yep.
So I think that's the one.
All right. And you remember, so then the movie's over. I did think it was cool that it was part of like that little event thing. So they did highlight afterwards like some artwork about like Art the Clown. And like I didn't realize like how big he's gotten. Like I think I personally think in terms of like terrifying clowns, he's probably the scariest one.
Yeah, I mean I think before that he had Pennywise. as like
He
the
was good,
overall
though.
scariest. Like probably in the 90s to me, that was the scariest.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, this like shits on.
I think
other
I think
things.
it's far surpassed. And then I brought up I think we were talking about the clowns from Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yeah.
Which like it's not like one clown, but
A couple of them are pretty scary.
I like that they're silent in Killer Clowns too,
Yeah.
which I think adds to it, which is kind of neat.
I did like that movie Stitches. Have you seen that one?
Stitches, yeah.
That
Stitches
one
was bizarre.
It's not
I think,
really
I think
scary,
Art was
but-
scarier though.
Oh yeah, no, Art's scary, way scary. I wasn't really scared of clowns. That
Yeah.
much.
I think I told you this. I watched Killer Clowns at an alarmingly young age, and it set the tone of uneasiness around clowns. I think. But yeah, this one was good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I think that was cool. All the fan stuff at the end.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when we went to MonsterCon this last year,
Yeah,
and they're aligned for
because they had Art in costume.
yeah. So they had
Yeah.
Damian Leone. They had Art, David Thornton. We
Yeah.
didn't even say that. That's David Howard Thornton is Art, and then the two kids from the second movie.
That's pretty cool. Because
And you
I mean,
can-
the second one like just recently came out.
Yeah, the second
right?
one had just come out.
And then they're doing a third one.
Yeah,
if I'm-
Terrifier 3 is
Yeah,
coming
that'll
out.
be cool. I would go see that. I would go see that in
But
theaters.
their
Like when it
line
comes
was
out.
like almost as long as Edward or
Almost as long
as any. Oh my
as
god,
any
my
of,
brain
as
just-
like some of the other people that were there. Like some of the
Robert Englund is what I wanted to say. I don't know what I almost said.
I didn't know Robert Englund was at that one.
Yeah.
Where was it? At the
It was
Expo
at
Center?
Oaks, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they had all Nightmare 3's,
Damn.
pretty much Nightmare 3's cast.
That's pretty cool.
No Patricia. My God, no
Man.
Patricia Arquette.
But yeah, what are
Yeah.
you gonna do?
But I mean,
Very cool either way.
Heather Langenkamp. Like they had a bunch of people. Devin Sawa was there. Like it was a.
It was pretty stat. There's so actually shout out to a buddy of mine. He I think like saw Terrifier like back at like when it originally came out, and he was really big into like slasher movies and stuff like that. And I think he's getting an Art the Clown tattoo. And I was like,
nice.
oh, I didn't know this was like a big thing.
Oh,
but
yeah.
then we were at the event, like at the movie theater, and it was just like they had a whole section on like people getting Art the Clown tattoos.
Oh,
and I was
yeah.
like, oh, this is like rad. Like,
No,
that's
it's a big deal. Like
So-
people were like cosplaying as Art.
Yeah, I like the
it's-
one that was the two kids that were like dressed up as Art and I guess in Terrifier 2, whoever
Yeah,
it is.
you got to see that one.
I still haven't watched it, but it's on the list. Did you want to talk about anything else with this one?
I will say it was really cool when we went to that MonsterCon. They had their own table, a Terrifier.
Oh, for Terrifier, that's
But
pretty
they had
cool.
like one of the actual cameras they use, like one of those like I've never seen a camera like it, but it's like it's on like a tilt and like
oh,
they had
that's
the
it's
camera
like a
there.
dolly and stuff like that. That's cool.
Yeah, it's like it has like a pitch arm and stuff.
Yeah.
And they had like all the so the cast was obviously getting like, you could get photos of them,
Yeah,
autographs.
yeah.
So they weren't really at the table, but the rest of the crew was running like the merch area.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And it was all like, it was like DIY
yeah.
feel to
I think
it.
that's like kind of the whole vibe that you get from it.
Yeah, but it's cool because it's like, I think it's a top like newer horror movie to me.
Yeah.
Top newer horror franchise.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I mean, now if you look at some of the other like more bloated franchises along
Yeah.
the way, it's like, all right, come on. Like,
I mean, the second movie was completely crowdfunded,
that's really cool.
which is crazy.
I wonder if the third one, if they like actually got
I don't know.
people to
I
back
saw.
them.
I had the page up for the third one, but I didn't really read too much on it yet.
Yeah, we'll have to do a follow-on episode. I'd like to do a follow-on with maybe some of the other Terrifier ones, or do like a series if we watch like 2, and
Yeah,
then if we
when
go
you
to
watch
3
2,
or
we'll come
something.
back.
Well, we can do another one
because
for 2.
you'd be like, wow,
That
I
would
thought
be
the first
cool.
one was brutal.
But yeah, did you have anything else we wanted to say for this one? I think I kind of liked covering these, like, I don't know,
Yeah,
slasher movies.
no,
It was cool.
It just reminds me of dirty '80s slashers. Like I really
Yeah.
like this movie Maniac,
Yeah, everything was like very
And,
just like gutsy in this one.
The Mutilator, where does it need an insane
You
plot?
don't need- yeah,
No.
you don't watch it for the plot though.
But
You watch
you're
it
just
for
like,
the yeah. I do think to one final thought. We were going up to the event. I didn't realize that there was other movies going on at the same time, and there was like some older couples that were there, and I was like, are these people about to go in to watch Terrifier? It was like families. I was like,
yeah, we had one confusing family in front of us. It was like
Yeah.
a 13-year-old girl in like fishnets, all black. We're like, okay, Terrifier.
be like, yeah, she's fit in
Older
Terrifier.
sister
I'm
wearing
gonna call it.
literally a prom dress. Not sure.
Yeah.
Grandpa's literally in a wheelchair and grandma was with him. And I was thinking the same thing. I was like, oh my God.
I really hope they're not about to see this terrifying
I was like,
movie.
this is the craziest group of people going to see Terrifier. Like,
Yeah.
There's no way. The daughter's like, oh no, it's just like,
it's fun. It's a clown.
it's like Michael Myers, but new. Okay. Yeah. Oh, sure, Jenny. That's fine.
Cue to the hacksaw
They're all
scene.
throwing up in the back seat.
Yeah, that's wild. Overall, I enjoyed it. I was very happy with it.
It's definitely not a movie for most people, but I like it.
And I'm sorry if you listen to this and you
all my
don't
boxes.
like us anymore. So,
well, that's why we did these separate ones. So if you like horror, you listen to these ones. If you don't like horror, you don't have to sit through and
yeah. So these are going to be, like I said, these are like their own series. So if you didn't like what you just heard, definitely
and
these are a little bit more spoiler driven and kind of more scary, disturbing, etc.
Yeah.
So.
And the format will change slightly. We'll do different stuff with horror.
Yeah.
But it's going to be mostly...
It's all just horror chat.
Yeah.
So, all right, man. Do you want to call this one?
Let's call it. Shout out to Art the Clown for being creepy.
All right, guys. Until next time.